Warning. Actonville TV disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host, authors, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any religious affiliation.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swamiye Saranamayappa, Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. We just started streaming live as we are in Lanesha South on Actonville TV. It's for everyone. This is the Journey Show, the show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. I'm your host, Kimera, Heeralal, and if you'd like to join the conversation, you're welcome to do so by interacting with us and commenting at the bottom of the screen right there, or if you want to hashtag your views, comments, and beliefs anonymously, you're welcome to do so on our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. Well, today is episode 91 of Geeta Week. It is Geeta Week over 18 days, so yes, basically it's well, technically not a week. It's 18 days since there's 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, and today we are discussing chapter 12, part 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. But before we get to our educational part and information of the show, let's open up the show with a beautiful way that we always do in Hinduism by praising Lord Ganesha. Opening up the show for us today is Edward Reddy from Lanesha South, and he's praising and worshipping Lord Ganesha.
பெரியோர்களே, தாய்மார்களே, எல்லாருக்கும் என் அன்புள்ள வணக்கம். My humble greetings to one and all. Our opening invocation to Lord Ganesha to commence the program. வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம், வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம், கணநாதா கணீசா கணநாதா கணீசா அருகும் முள்ளும் இருக்கும் மலரும் சூட்டி கொண்டு மழுபவனே ஆற்றில் அருளும் திருளும் பொருளும் வெள்ளி கொள்ள தருபவனே அழுகும் முள்ளும் இருக்கும் மலரும் சூட்டி கொண்டு மழுபவனே ஆற்றில் அருளும் திருளும் பொருளும் வெள்ளி கொள்ள தருபவனே சித்தி கணபதி புத்தி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே சித்தி கணபதி புத்தி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள் வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள் வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம் வாழ்விக்கும் திருவயிறே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம் கணநாதா கணேசா கணநாதா கணேசா சதுர்த்தி பூஜை செய்தால் நற்பல தந்து அருள்வாரே நாளும் பொழுதும் நம்பிக்கை வைத்தால் சீரும் சிறுப்பும் தருவாரே நாயகன் சதுர்த்தி பூஜை செய்தால் நற்பல தந்து அருள்வாரே நாளும் பொழுதும் நம்பிக்கை வைத்தால் சீரும் சிறுப்பும் தருவாரே வீர கணபதி வெற்றி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே கணபதி வெற்றி கணபதி எத்தனை வடிவம் பெற்றவனே வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா வருவாயே கணநாதா அருள்வாயே குணநாதா வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள் வீழும் தன்முகமாகி வினை தீக்கும் திருக்கரங்கள் வாழ்விக்கும் திருமயிரே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம் வாழ்விக்கும் திருமயிரே விக்னேசன் திருத்தோட்டம் கணநாதா கணேசா கணநாதா கணேசா
Jai Ganesha! Edward Reddy, a legend, a South African legend, a South African pure devotional singer. Edward Reddy, everybody. I know you guys know him, especially if you're a Hindu. Brilliant man, brilliant singer, brilliant artist. Thank you, Uncle Edward, for helping us to open up our show today. As we're jumping into the Bhagavad Gita and discussing and sharing with you in English the explanation, or should we say, we're teaching chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, as it we're calling it Gita Week right here on Attenville TV. Coming up next, Dr. P.K. Maestri teaching you chapter 12 in English of the Bhagavad Gita.
Prime Namaste to our viewers tonight on Active TV. Today's chapter is chapter 12, which is called Bhakti Yoga. I just want to say on the onset that this chapter is a very lengthy chapter. I wouldn't say complicated, but a lot of Sanskrit words is mixed up into the Bhakti Yoga chapter. I will endeavor to the best of my ability to interpret most of the Sanskrit words for your benefit. being a long chapter, I'll begin to go directly into the chapter. So, the Bhagavad Gita, we said, is a song of God. The summary of the Bhagavad Gita that's in chapter 12 is becoming a Jivan Mukta. That means searching out for self-realization. The Sanskrit word bhakti comes from the word bhaj, which means to adore or to worship God. So Bhakti Yoga has been called love for love's sake and union through love and devotion. Bhakti Yoga, like any other form of yoga, is a path to self-realization, to have an experience of oneness with everything. Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion, the method of attaining God through love and the loving recollection of God. The goal of the Bhakta or the devotee's God is to attain God realization, oneness with the divine, that means becoming soluble with the divine. The devotee attains this through the force of love, that most powerful and irresistible of emotions. Love is accessible to everyone. We all love someone or something, frequently with great intensity. Love makes us forget ourselves, our whole attention being devoted to the object of our adoration. The ego loosens its grip as we think of our beloved's welfare more than our own. Love gives us concentration even against our will. We constantly remember the object of our love. Vedanta. Vedanta means culmination of Vedic wisdom or the final step in our spiritual path. It therefore says, don't squander the power of God. Use this powerful force for God realization. We must remember that when we love one another, we are really responding, though unconsciously, to the divinity within him or her. Our love for others becomes unselfish and motiveless when we are able to encounter divinity in them. The point to remember is that God is our own, the nearest of the nearest and the dearest of the dearest. The more our minds are absorbed in him, or thoughts in him or her, as the case might be, the closer we shall be attaining the goal of human life called God realization. How does the chapter 12 start? Krishna revealed to Arjuna in chapter 11, that the entire universe of names, forms, laws and orders are manifestations of one's intelligence. So from the standpoint of manifested universe that you are experiencing now, this intelligence is called Visvarupa Ishvara, that is the universal form of Krishna. Chapter 12 verse 1, Arjuna's fear of the world is motivated him to solve it. So he asked Krishna to resolve my perturbed mind. That's the one obstacle denying me from capturing the final reality. Which is it? Which is better? Which bhakti is better? Saguna or Nirguna? Saguna is inquisitiveness, restless, seeking nature. Nirguna is the concept of a formless God, that God does not exist in a particular form. So what is Krishna's answer to all this? He says, it's not a matter of better, but a matter of qualification, meaning Sarguna Bhakti qualifies the aspirant to encapsulate Nirguna Bhakti. So what is karma yoga under the heading of Bhakti Sadhana? Sadhana means disciplined or dedicated practice or learning in a religion. So karma yoga is the discipline of selfless action in the way to perfection. When a person is born, they carry forward past karma, which is good karma, and unfulfilled desires. Desire is a very bad karma. So throughout your life, if you're desiring materialism, you will come back to continue with your desire. But if we live with good karma, you will come back to continue the good karma until you attain moksha. What practice is there to describe to the person the challenge of force of destiny into a spiritual world? The answer is, person is allowed to do any action to fulfill his or her desire. But whatever happens, see the result as a blessing or response from intelligence. Karma Yoga, as I told you, another level of it, is a discipline for self-will action to perfection. Eventually, the bhakta, the devotee, becomes mindful of his intelligence, not only in the results, but also in one's actions. Therefore, the devotee's actions become a form of devotion to this intelligence, and not just by sake. This attitude purifies and expands the mind. The question is asked, how does it expand? It says, as long as actions are done for my sake, they'll continue sustaining the likes and dislikes. So he asks, what are the effects of likes and dislikes, which is a narrow version of reality? It says, whereas when notices your actions are influences the whole world, then actions become more responsible, thus transforming the personality. Then what is Upasana Yoga? Upasana is, since the spiritual goal of yoga is oneness with the divine, that's Upasana. Or sitting near God. It's the same difference. You're sitting near God means you're seeking God realization. It lessens the mind's agitation for the likes and dislikes. That person becomes qualified for meditation. What kind of meditation? Personalized, customized meditation that the devotee feels attracted to. Says, I'm attempting to enjoy my version of divinity according to my notion. Then you got level 2 of the Upasana Yoga. Upasana Yoga is sitting near God. It makes the devotee refined enough to question one's own personal deity. Persons get suspicious at divisions of God. They're all bound within time and space. Who created time and space? Therefore, the Ishta Deva, that means your personal God, Ishta Devata, your personal God, notion becomes extended to the entire universe, whereas it is the universal form of Krishna. Lord is everything. Everything is Lord. Then you got Jnana Yoga. Jnana means path of self-realization through knowledge. Jnana is knowledge. Thus, the final stage is whereby the mind inquires into the non-changing awareness that's illuminating the mind, which is thought and emotion, and the body's sensation. So again, Jnana Yoga, which is the path of self-realization, is consistent with systematic Vedantic study. What is Vedantic study? It's the end of the Vedas. And you have to have a competent Acharya. What is an Acharya? A priest. So let's go on to an example of Ramanujan, the Math. What is the Math? The Maths were created by Swami Sivananda in the north, south, east, west of India, depicting Saivism and seeking God realization. So Ramana had faith in his teacher. Even silent teacher is a reminder to still the mind. So there are 3 stages of the Jnana Yoga, the path to self-realization, or Vedanta is the end of the Vedas, as I told you. It is to expound Vedanta, removal of doubts, repeatedly reminding my higher nature to myself, irresponsibility in partial schools of Vedanta, to the end of the Vedas. They go straight, meaning teaching mostly consists of reminding the seeker of his or her highest nature. This is highly ineffective, next to uselessness, because the four sadhanas. What is sadhanas? Hindu religious training through which an individual attains samadhi. Samadhi is to be one with God. Two ways of samadhi. One is to sit here and communicate with God, and the other one is to go permanently to God. Two types of samadhi. So, in the previous four sadhanas, they haven't qualified the mind to hold the vision. That's why the seeking is frustrated through time. So, what is bhakti palam? Palam is fruit. Bhakti is the emotional attachment to love towards the personal God and the God for the devotee. So, Jnana Yoga is still moving towards self-realization. So, how do we know that this self-realization is working? The knowledge has an emotional transformation in your personality. Step 1. Understand ignorance is the problem of buddhi, knowledge. Everyone is born ignorant, walking, eating, language, etc. As we learn, we remove ignorance. As we do, there are certain relief. So far, where does knowledge and removal of ignorance take place? It takes place with the buddhi, with the brain. Emotion, like relief, is just byproducts of having removed ignorance within the buddhi. Meaning, ignorance of my real identity is also within the scope of the mind. Step 2 is the motive for removing ignorance. Step 3 is many emotional issues stem from inherent smallness. What is the summary of this? The root problem is ignorance about I am. Effect of this ignorance is emotional disharmony in various forms. Therefore, the ignorance of I am is removed, the more emotional harmony body-minded enjoys in respect to the inner or outer worlds. There is nothing as purifying as knowledge. Fire of knowledge consumes every sin. What is the benefit of self-knowledge while alive? It's the change of relationship in several roles we conduct while living. It's the role of the doer. It's liberated while we're living. Jivan Mukta's knowledge about nature of this world is firm, intelligence, and a material cause. Hence it perceives it with sanctity, everything is worthy of worship. In summary, Arjuna sets the chapter's question by asking whether it is better to have devotional love for Krishna or for the less tangible, manifest God. Krishna replies that both routes would lead to understanding, but recommends devotional love for Krishna's personification in the Geeta for embodied beings. Worshipping Krishna in this concrete form gives worshippers a clear focus, he explains. Worshipping the vast God as the essence of permeating all things will eventually lead devotees to understanding, but this form of worship involves more work. Krishna insists that meditating wholly on Krishna will lead a person to him. If such meditation is not possible, then living a life devoted to Krishna would also bring a person to Krishna in the end. Krishna instructs Arjuna how he might become perfect in yoga. By meditating and concentrating solely on Krishna, one will become loved the most by Krishna. Krishna brings up the importance of single-minded concentration for the yogi, with the mind fully absorbed, one-pointed, will live within me forever. This is the way to free oneself from the cycle of birth and death. This is the way to free oneself from the birth and death, underlined, very important. If a person cannot do this successfully, he adds, then the path of devotion through direct action is another way to achieve a success. If this doesn't work, Krishna recommends the person concentrate on detachment or indifference to the results of their actions. Krishna claims that a person who demonstrates kindness, who is always serene, unmoved by pain or pleasure, is the one he loves the best. Thus, the one who shows anger, no matter what circumstances, is the most not loved by Krishna. What is the analysis of this whole thing? This chapter deliberates between the Bhakti Yoga, or love for a personal God, and the worship of the unmanifest God through intense study and meditation. Krishna advocates primarily for devotional love, arguing that this is an easy and more focused path. Bhakti Yoga also is more directly tied to Karma Yoga, or the yoga of action. Krishna teaches Arjuna that devotional love can be expressed by imbuing all actions with devotional worship. The path of understanding through study and meditation provides a path to union with the unmanifested form of God, but it is more arduous work. All are the routes to the same end. Freedom from the endless cycle of birth and death. Krishna stresses it is simpler to focus worship and devotion on Him as a relatable deity rather than meditating on God in the unmanifest form. Krishna tells Arjuna that the path of those meditating on the unmanifest is much more arduous because for embodied beings, the unmanifest is obscure. Without a face or a shape to put on God, it is more difficult to focus one's meditation and worship. Worshipping Krishna's manifestation of God, however, allows a person to find a more direct and relatable channel for devotion. Krishna fully describes the person he loves most. In the yogic tradition, regardless of the path chosen, the devotee will demonstrate ways of being in the world that reflect inner balance and goodness. The successful person of yoga will show love and compassion for everyone equally and will have a calm attitude of detachment to the joys and sorrows of life. The devotee who is indifferent to grief and desire, good and bad fortune, that man is the one I love the most. He reveals Krishna. I thank you.
Dr. P.K. Maestri just educated you on chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Coming up next is Vandana Naren from Winchester Hills in Johannesburg, and she's performing Shave.
Namaskar.
Mahadev! Welcome back. That was a beautiful delivery and praise and worship of Lord Shiva. The song called Shive by Vandana Narayan from Winchester Hills in Johannesburg. Beautiful performance and well-established artists. Well, let's take a quick break and when we come back, we got Shashi Gasai waiting for you to educate you on chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranam Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Welcome back, guys. For those of you who just joined us, welcome to the show as we started streaming live at 4:30. But I don't blame you as our schedule is changing according to load shedding in South Africa. So yeah, and we're based in Lenasia South. So yeah, we follow the Lenasia South timetable of load shedding. Well, welcome to Attenville TV. It's for everyone. The show is called The Journey. It's all about exploring Hinduism as a whole. I'm your host, Kimera Heeralal. Join the conversation as you can interact with us in studio today and comment at the bottom of the screen. Or if you want to hashtag your views, comments, and beliefs anonymously, you're welcome to do so by just using our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. Coming up next, before we get there, I see Devin Naidu and Vishnu Devan Mudli coming in from YouTube saying Namaskaram and Namaste. Well, I do apologize for not putting your comments up on the screen. Lots of messages coming through. Some may be a little bit unfriendly, but hey. Coming up next, Shashi Gasai teaching us and educating us about the Bhagavad Gita chapter 12. Let's check it out.
Namaste, I'm Shashi Gosai, and now we continue our journey through Bhagavad Gita. But before we start chapter 12, let's recap what we learned so far. So in chapter 1, he addressed the confusion of Arjuna arising out of his lack of identity and of not knowing his duty on the battlefield. Chapter 2 to 5 explained what is a pure nature of an individual and using karma yoga to purify oneself. Chapter 6 explained how to remain constantly in one's true nature through dhyana yoga or yoga of meditation. Chapter 7 to 10 gave us an elaborate description of Ishvara. And chapter 11, the vision of the cosmic form. Shri Krishna ji ended the previous chapter telling us that Ishvara is in everything and everything is in Ishvara. But our mind is so destined to see something that's finite that we need continual reminder, and unless we get to that state where we can visualize this, Shri Krishna ji tells us to follow the path of devotion or bhakti to get to that state. Chapter 12 takes us through the path of devotion or bhakti, and this is dedicating all our actions to Ishvara. Shri Krishna ji describes this as two things. First of all, it's the nectar of dharma or the ultimate universal law of nature. Arjuna is still confused between the difference of a sannyasa or a karma yogi, and more importantly, who to worship. Shri Krishna ji had described himself as imperishable, unmanifest, not visible to our senses, and he has created so many deities. So then Arjuna wanted to know, who is the superior devotee? Is it the one who worships the invisible Lord, which is the unmanifest, or the deities, which are the manifest form? Shri Krishna ji answers that it's easier for a devotee to worship a deity or the manifest form rather than the unmanifest form. And the person who can worship with devotion is one who can meditate on Ishvara in the form of any deity, can concentrate on worship without diverting the mind, has complete and unwavering faith, has the ability to concentrate his thoughts to penetrate and enter an object of concentration, and nothing ever destabilizes his mind or his intellect. That devotee has merged with Ishvara, and this is the final goal of the yoga of devotion. Sri Krishnaji wants to demonstrate the difference between manifest and unmanifest. And Arjuna wanted to know about the devotee who worships in the unmanifest form. So first of all, Krishnaji starts by describing the unmanifest form, which was, the formless Ishvara is imperishable, cannot be described by words, invisible, not limited by space, and pervades everywhere and everything, cannot be conceived as a thought by the mind. It's unchangeable in time, unchangeable in space, eternal and deathless. Krishnaji says, it's only the seeker who can imagine all this will be in a position to worship in the formless aspect. And this devotee does not consider Ishvara as separate from him, loses all sense of selfishness, revels in the welfare of everyone in this world. It is, however, very difficult to worship Ishvara in this formless state. Our mind is always wandering. We are actually used to seeing something finite in front of us. And the key goal is to keep Ishvara on our mind all the time. Krishnaji then described 4 paths or yoga to attain Ishvara. And he did this in descending order. And the first one is the yoga of Yanya, which means the yoga of knowledge. Who has given up attachment to the body? The seeker should fix both his intellect and mind in Ishvara constantly with one goal, and that's to merge with Ishvara. This is difficult because the mind gets distracted very quickly. However, this is very difficult. So the Lord says we can then do the next type of yoga, or the yoga of meditation, called Abhyasa. And this is for one who can sit for meditation for long periods of time. We first choose an object of worship, such as an image of a deity, a spiritual text, or a mantra. Then we set aside a fixed time and place every day and meditate upon the object of worship. However, there has been a complete dispersion towards the material world, as our mind will keep wandering. And this length of time can be gradually increased. However, if even this is difficult, Lord says we can then start another type of yoga, which is slightly easier, called the Bhakti Yoga, or the yoga of devotion. And this is for one who can perform every action for Ishvara. And we can remain connected to Ishvara for most of the time by making every act in our daily lives into an act of worship. When every action in our daily lives, whether it's work, home, play, study, becomes an act of worship, we slowly get rid of our ego at the altar of Ishvara. And then become purified enough to go on to Abhyasa Yoga and then down to Jnana Yoga. However, the Lord says, if this is difficult, it's the 4th type yoga, which is easiest, and that's the yoga of karma. And that is the yoga of action. And it's for one who can dedicate the results of their actions to Ishvara. For most of us, there'll be still material desires. So for this, Krishnaji gives us 2 simple solutions. And the first one is, do your best actions and submit the results of actions to Him, and control the senses as much as possible to reduce the inflow of selfish desires. This is the simplest and most basic spiritual technique to get closer to Ishvara. And once we perfect this, we can go to higher levels of yoga with higher goal setting. An accomplished devotee is essentially convinced of 2 things. And the first one is that everything in this world is Ishvara, and the devotee himself is not different from Ishvara. There's a universal oneness with everything around us. There's a sense of peace. There's no likes or dislikes, instant forgiveness, compassion, and mind does not get sorrowful or overexcited. Most of us derive contentment from food, people, objects, or situations in the world. Contentment is a state when the mind does not need anything else. He has complete self-control over his mind, body, intellect, and he doesn't run after short-term happiness. The next few shlokas are devoted to devotees that are dear to Sri Krishnaji. He first lists 4 reactions which we as humans have, and the first one is excitement on seeing anything pleasant, irritation on hearing anything unpleasant, fear on hearing something fearful, agitation when meeting someone or anything that is disagreeable. Sri Krishna says that the person who is free from all these transient emotions can become karma yogi. He's got rid of his selfish desires and does all his duties as swa karma. He has understood the art of performing all action, big or small, according to the teaching on karma yoga, thereby giving his best efforts. He does undertake new initiatives if the action is not part of his swadharma. He has given up expectations about the result and dedicates the results of his actions to Ishvara. He performs all his actions without distractions, but with utmost focus, perfection, and without fear, as he has no mental agitations caused by future expectations or past anxiety. The perfect yogi accepts all situations and objects as part of Ishvara's blessings. He is unaffected by attractions and revulsion, desire, hatred, or joy or grief. Through intense devotion to Ishvara, the devotee can get stability of his internal instrument called Antahakarna. And this is something that we actually connect with the outside world. And these are intellect, mind, senses, ego, memory. For example, the skin feels heat or cold. The message is sent to our brain, and we react according to the memory we already had. For example, if it's cold in summer, we feel very happy, we feel very cool. But if it's cold in winter, we get a sorrowful situation purely because we are associating the actual sensation with what is going on around us. Similarly, when we hear praise, we feel very happy. And if we hear criticism, we feel very sorrowful. This is due to the attachment of the ego to the body, which generates positive or negative reactions in the mind. A devotee who considers the body as part of Ishvara's creation is unaffected. He remains silent to all desires and afflictions. The devotee who is unattached to his house, his physical body, his mind, his intellect, or his desires is a true human being. So this chapter ends with 39 qualities of a perfected yogi. It's meant to inspire us that if we get even one of these qualities, it will open the door to the rest. In all of these qualities, equanimity, unselfishness, detachment, unwavering faith towards Ishvara is repeatedly emphasized. Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to a little bit of Bhagavad Gita, or part of Hinduism. I will be bringing some more chapters. This is Shashi Gosai, and thank you.
Medley.
கருமாரி ரூபந்தான் அம்மா அம்மா, மகமாயி ரூபம் கூட அம்மா அம்மா. கருமாரி ரூபந்தான் அம்மா அம்மா, மகமாயி ரூபம் கூட அம்மா அம்மா. கண் கண்ட தெய்வந்தான் அம்மா அம்மா, இதை கருமாரி கனவு தோண்டி சொன்னான் அம்மா. கருமாரி கனவு தோன்றி சொன்னாள் அம்மா. ஜீவமானம் அம்மாவின் அருள் ஒன்று போதும்.
வருவாய் 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 அம்மா
வருவாய் 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 அம்மா
திருவே உருவாய் வருவாய் அம்மா
திருவே உருவாய் வருவாய் அம்மா
இருளி நீக்கிட வருவாய் அம்மா
இருளே நீக்கிட வருவாய் அம்மா
உந்தன் அருளே புழந்திட தாய் நீ அம்மா
உன்னன் அருளே புழந்திட தாய் நீ அம்மா
கல்யாணி கருமாரி காமாட்சி நீ
கல்யாணி கருமாரி காமாட்சி நீ
மாலட்சுமி மாதங்கி மீனாட்சி நீ
மகாலட்சுமி மாதங்கி மீனாட்சி நீ
வரலட்சுமி வாராகி விசலட்சுமி நீ
வரலட்சுமி வாராகி விசலட்சுமி நீ
உலகில் அம்மாயே பரசக்தி தாயே
உலகெல்லாம் மாயே பரசக்தி தாயே
அம்மா 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 அம்மா
அம்மா அம்மா அம்மா
శ్రీనివాస గోవింద శ్రీ వెంకటేశ గోవింద
శ్రీనివాస గోవింద శ్రీ వెంకటేశ గోవింద
పూర్ణ పురుష గోవింద పండరివాస గోవింద
పూరణ పురుష గోవింద పండరివాస గోవింద
ఆపద్ పాండవ గోవింద అనాథ రక్షక గోవింద
ఆపద్ పాండవ గోవింద అనాథ రక్షక గోవింద
శ్రీనివాస గోవింద శ్రీ వెంకటేశ గోవింద
శ్రీనివాస గోవింద శ్రీ వెంకటేశ గోవింద
తిరుపతి వాస గోవింద తిరుమలై వాస గోవింద
తిరుపతి వాస గోవింద తిరుమల వాస గోవింద
గోవింద
by MTSS, also known as Meerbank Tamil School Society. I love the way they mixed everything with all the ammas and then they led it to Goinda. Beautiful delivery, guys. Love it. All right, straight after the commercial break, when we come back, we're going to talk about the temple adverts and things that we have coming up. And not forgetting how we end off the show with our Thirukurul and the value system straight after this. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swamiye Saranam Ayyappa. Goinda, Goinda, Govinda. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the show as we are talking about Geeta Week, chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. We had PK Maestri showcase and explain to us everything in English, as well as Shashi Kusain from London educating us about telling us what chapter 12 is about in English, which was very, very difficult to do. I know this was a difficult task, and I myself had to seek help from PK Maestri as well as Shashi Kusain. So thank you guys very, very much for your help. It was a lot of hard work. All right, so as we know, Ganesha Chaturthi is coming up next, and it's around the corner. We have the Meenakshi Sureswara Kovil Temple standing by to show you what they have.
துங்கு கரிமுகனே தூமணி ஞானவனே பொல்லாவினைகளே அகலே அருள்வாய் விநாயகனே ஞான முகனே வெள்ளை மணமும் கல்வி தருவாய். கருணை கணபதியே நீ கண்ணிமை போல் எம்மை காப்பாய். கருணை கணபதியே நீ கண்ணிமை போல் எம்மை காப்பாய். கருணை கடலே களைகள் வளரே தடைகளை நீக்கு அருள்வாய். கருணை கடலே களைகள் வளரே தடைகளை நீக்க அருள்வாய். கருணை கணபதியே நீ கண்ணிமை போல் எம்மை காப்பாய்.
At the MSK Temple. Edward Reddy will be performing at the Ganesha Chaturthi in Lanesia South on Starling Street. It's going to be epic. It's going to be a beautiful Ganesha Chaturthi with great talent, great people, great atmosphere, great energy. Most important thing in Hinduism, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another artist to present this afternoon. We've got Praveen Mudli. He's having a concert in Attenville, Benoni, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, the Sri Mariam and Kaliam and Siva Subramaniam Alyam is responsible for this entire concert. And it is a free entrance fee. So when I said Praveen Mudli, I said free entrance fee straight after that. The date you can get this on now and when this concert is happening is the 30th of September, guys. And it's at 3:30 in the afternoon at the Siva Samaj Hall. Feel free to contact Auntie Sua and Chantal on their cell phone numbers, which you'll find at the bottom right of the poster. And yeah, you can go and see Praveen Mudli for free. It's come to that time at the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen, where we do the 108 principles of the value system from the Tirukkural. Today's lesson is sitting at number 10. Let's check it out.
Today's lesson from the 108 principles of the value system from the Tirukkural is number 10. Do not covet anything that belongs to others. Be content and satisfied.
Pretty straight morals and values right there, ladies and gentlemen. Well, today is Friday. As you can see, I'm in my red outfits, my traditional t-shirt today, representing and well, praising Lakshmi Ma every Friday. From myself, Kimera, Heeralal, have a blessed day. And well, for those of you, okay, before I go, I know a lot of you need these services. So if you need a guru, just quickly, let's go through this. If you need Guru in Dressen, he's available to do your Jandagam as well as your astrological readings. Not forgetting your Navagraha Shantis, your house prayers, your business prayers, your car prayers, your temple and hall weddings, your ceremonies like your 16 days in your 1 year, your Janda prayers, your auspicious Hawans, as well as your Kumbha Abhishekams. Contact him after 6 p.m. on a weekday on 081 325 0115. 081 325 0115. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'll do this again on Monday. I'm hoping at 7 o'clock in the night. It will work according to the load shedding schedule. But if you want to go ahead and check before us, you can go onto the ESCOM site, the app, and check Lanesia South 9. That's where we're located. And you'll see the load shedding schedule there. Yeah, we work according to that. But we usually like to go live at 7 p.m. From myself, Kimera, Heeralal, have a blessed weekend. Stay safe wherever you might be. And many blessings for those of you who are fasting for Ganesha Chaturthi as well as for Tasi. I hope you guys are enjoying the fasting, doing well. From myself, Kimera, Heeralal, Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranam Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Good night, everyone.